Hello Libra, welcome back to my channel. I am Mariana and I will do the vibes inside for you today. So, well, if you have been following my readings or my channel for a while, well, you know that I have talked about duality and the balance between yin and yang. I've talked about that for a while. The rise of the feminine and so on. But what does that actually mean exactly? I feel a strong sense of that the scales have to be balanced out, that there's more weight on one than on the other. And like there is a heaviness on one side and a lightness to another side. So something seems more easy to do and achieve maybe or manifest, and something else seems to be quite heavy or dense to break through, perhaps. The feeling of one part of your life may seem to work out better than the other. So maybe you are successful in your business life, but in your emotional life you're really in pain, something like that. And it seems like the more you work, the more successful you become, but the less happy you get deep down. So to equal some of this out, what are you supposed to do then? Why is it that one part seems so difficult to like find the path through, or it may feel like a jungle, right? And like you can't seem to, I can do all of this on one part, and then on the other it's like I just can't seem to break through this. Why can't I have both, you could say? Why can't I have both? Why can't I have a successful, good, well-supported life, and then at the same time actually be happy and enjoy it? This will, of course, not be for everyone out there. If you feel like you are quite content in life, this is probably not for you then. But I feel this feeling of like imbalance on the scales. You can't see, but like that there's definitely a heaviness to one side, and an easiness somehow to the other. Almost like one part feels relieved and the other part feels still heavy somehow, or heavier maybe. Or not quite there yet. This can be said in the spiritual awakening also, if you're not aware of it. If you go through a perception change, your mind can change quicker and easier than your physical body and your emotions. That could actually be it, that maybe you changed your mind about something and it feels like a relief. It feels like a really good decision, right? It feels maybe elaborating or freeing somehow. But there is a sense that a different part of you is, or someone else you are dealing with, they are not quite following this, right? It could be this feeling of like old comedy drawings of someone who was in prison, right? He was carrying around this big round ball of iron around his foot. It was kind of linked to him, right? Linked so that he couldn't escape. He couldn't just leave, right? It would make him slower, denser. But you see, it's almost like, and this now it ties a little bit into both the Leo and the Virgo reading. Like in the Virgo, there was this picture of the jaguar and this round, very smooth, round, almost bowling ball looking like image in the card. And I kind of felt like it was not supposed to be there, right? It was not supposed to be there. It's like it didn't belong there in the midst of the forest with the jungle. It seemed too polished, too like man-made, right? It didn't seem like it belonged in nature. So maybe there's a part of you that really wants to be free, but something could be keeping you, right? I also talked in those readings about like freeing the butterfly. Like if you keep it in your hand, it can't fly freely, right? It never sees the sun and the flowers and everything. It can't navigate freely, authentically. It has to adapt to be in the cave, right? But if you free it, it would suddenly have to like feel all this vastness, right? This bigness, this big world that is around it. I get this feeling of almost letting something out of the cave, right? Taking this iron ball off your feet and levitate out of the prison, right? That kind of feeling. And maybe you're doing it with your mind, right? Maybe you're really thinking new thoughts and believing in new stuff, and but there's still this like an aftermath or something that lingers with you, that seems like it's still tied to you or something like that. Yeah, it's the best visual image. That's this prison, like the black and white striped prison pyjama, and then this round iron ball that keeps you locked into the cell, right? You can't just fly away like the bird. It's almost like a bird with such an iron thing on their feet, right? And it's so heavy that you can't fly. Something like that. So this can be anything, an obligation. It could be, it's just a metaphor, right? Maybe literally you are tied down on your feet, but the point is that it's a metaphor. So it's supposed to be meaning to you if you resonate with this feeling that maybe if you're on a spiritual journey, it could be the feeling that, but I've done so much work. Why is it that I still feel so tied down or heavy or tired or exhausted? Or why is it that and it's because there is a difference between the two elements. Your mind is quick. It can change quickly. If it gets the right, you could say, if the right proof is presented, The mind can change its beliefs quickly, but the body carries, the remembrance, the memories, the trauma, maybe the feelings are there. So we may need to be a bit patient if you feel this could be part of your journey. We have an upcoming Libra full moon. So I'm doing this reading now, and then we have this full moon. I believe it's around the 6th of April. And if this story resonates with you somehow, if this theme is a thing, I believe that maybe the full moon typically also indicates like a completion of something, like you have completed a cycle of imprisonment, maybe, right? And then you are breaking out of it somehow, right? That kind of feeling. So with the the full moon coming, there's an opportunity to kind of really wrap something up. Become very aware of what is it that potentially could have tied you down. Become very real about what it is you want to achieve, and really tune into how you can free yourself from something. I'm just shuffling while I'm talking, right? And I have 4 new decks here. If you haven't seen any of the other readings, I have 4 new decks. And I took a time out to kind of calibrate some new energies that came in for me. So for you, Libra, it has been a while since I did the last reading. It's not out of respect, and it's not out of not wanting to be here or do the readings. It's just I needed to tune in on what was coming towards me, myself also. I actually changed my diet also. So another, you could say, detox or cleanse, another approach towards something that potentially is purer for me somehow, more authentic or more real. So I get the a flyer here, the 4th chakra, Archangel Raphael. This is healing, heart healing. The 4th chakra is the heart chakra. Green color could be significant, or pink. Pink and green is associated with the heart chakra. Time of healing, something. Again, the balancing between the two, the yin and yang, and I don't think that if I take the first example that you are very successful in your job, and on the other hand, emotionally, it just doesn't work out and relationships are crashing and so on. I don't think you become more happy by working more. It's about finding the balance between what you are doing in your workplace, where you are somewhat successful probably, and then somewhere else. Maybe that's supposed to get some attention, right? And again, you can't solve anything just with your mind. Maybe some of you, that's your spiritual journey, that you have to solve it with your mind. For others, it could be a balancing act. For you, Libra, I think it is a balancing act, because the duality, the weight scales are always present in your life somehow. Doing something but not overdoing it. Believing in something but not believing in fairy tales or illusions, perhaps, right? It's you are ruled by, we say, ruled by Venus, right? It's feminine, right? It's very sensual and like playful and talkative and social butterfly kind of, right? That would be you. You love luxury, right? You love pretty things. It's just part of your feminine nature, like the round curves of the Libra women, right? That's definitely a thing. The broad smiles, right? Libras are said to have the most broad, angelic-like smiles, perfect teeth and everything, right? That kind of tune to it. Round, at least for the women, round, soft looking, well nurtured faces, right? They have like this, and a brightness to their eyes also. The brightness of the eyes are very common with air elements, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or the brightness of the eyes. And these angelic big smiles, right? So you could say ruled by Venus, definitely. You could say the face, the radiating out this very feminine tune to the men. I always get a gentle, like, of course, unless you are really in pain, Libra men, I get a softness also to the, and very, very attractive looking faces with the Libra men. Again, beautiful smiles, a softness to their eyes, something like that. But again, that is when you are quite balanced, right? Of course, it's not the same when you're not. And that is an ultimate thing for Libras. It is that you get yourself involved in something and maybe it's fine and then suddenly it's not. Like you're constantly up and down with these scales here, right? I believe that's one of the life, you would say, lessons of Libra, is this finding out how to harmonize your life and figure out what's right for you and so on. Saturn is in Pisces at the moment, just entered Pisces from a 2.5-year journey in Capricorn. So Saturn, we say, is the great teacher. So has now entered a quite sensitive, spiritual, watery, feminine sign. It can be spiritual. It can have, like psychic gifts can open up with this. But with Saturn, I feel like it could be something that you are not necessarily welcoming in. This sensitive side, this extraordinary, maybe hearing or seeing, like clairvoyance, clairaudient, clairsentient, claircognizant, things like that. Maybe it's not always, it may not come always with like receiving a happy gift, right? Maybe it feels like it's a really bad gift because it's limiting you now. If you become more sensitive to the world, it's limiting you in being in the world, joining the world, the noise of the world, noise pollution, whatever. Suddenly it's maybe not it may not feel as that great of a gift. And again, this adjustment thing, that maybe that's also part of the adjustment, that the sensitivity is making it more difficult for your emotional part to adjust. Maybe fears come up because it reminds you of something. I believe many on a spiritual journey going through that become acquainted with past life memories and experiences. So maybe tuning into these new gifts are actually not necessarily something you just welcome in. Again, because it makes you more sensitive to the outside world and what else is going on there. It doesn't have to be, I'm just mentioning it. It would definitely be understandable if your brain has adapted to something, some kind of knowledge or perception, but your body is still working its way through, and your emotions are working its way through. What does this mean for me? Like, if I'm so sensitive, if I'm suddenly so sensitive, or I hear stuff or feel stuff or whatever, how am I supposed to be here? How am I supposed to join? Or again, a spiritual journey, usually it brings us into a state of aloneness where we need to stay away from certain kind of input, and the journey sometimes needs to be walked alone. But if you are a social butterfly, or normally you are a social butterfly and you like that, that could feel heavy on you, right? It may feel like you're limited, that you can't do what you normally do, that your scales have changed somehow. Your priorities may have changed, right? Because you can no longer kind of be part of something. And therefore it may feel like this is a terrible gift to have. I know many who see themselves as empaths. They feel a lot. They're very open. For many empaths, this actually is a struggle. Because just social interaction with a few friends can actually drain them a lot. So it's just take it how it resonates. If you feel like something is opening, it's challenging the balance, right? Again, maybe I hear again. It's challenging the balance again. Towards, if you feel like you are following that calling, you're not escaping from it. You're following it. Escaping from it would be a thing also with Saturn in Pisces. The shadow element of Pisces is to escape from it. So many people would actually work more and escape from the emotions, right? Because it seems like too big of a jungle to go in and figure this out. I'm good at this, but I'm not good at this, right? So I focus on what I'm good at. But it doesn't really necessarily solve this other part. But again, just remember this idea of this prisoner picture with this big balling ball of iron linked to your chain to your feet, right? Maybe you are literally feeling a heaviness in your feet, your legs, like it's heavy to walk on earth, like the gravity is too much or something like that, right? Okay, so as I said, I have 4 new decks. So the first card out here, I think I'm going to open all of them and I will show you. Okay. Actually, I want to turn them. I haven't done that for all of the readings, but I'm going to now, and this one is supposed to be here. And this one here. This is how they look for me, right? That's how they look for me when I was looking at them just in the other direction here. Okay, so the first card out here is called Vulnerability. This is from my Beyond Lemuria Oracle deck here. If you're interested in... I was kind of drawn to them because they bring these blue people and they associate for me with like the Avatar realm, film Avatar, and the way they kind of associate with the world around them, the tree of life and their dragons and everything. And we actually have, I don't know if it's a dragon here, but a kind of snake-like, dragon-ish looking image. But the point is that Lemuria is very feminine. If you know about Lemuria, it was supposed to have been around before Atlantis, and it was very yin based, very high vibrational energy. As I've said before, with Lemurian energy here, they had very yin-like, so not with like pressure or tension, and it's a very loving, kind, understanding, compassionate environment. Lemuria was very high on crystals. They very into crystals. They had crystal palaces. If you believe in this stuff, this realm, crystal palaces. But again, yin-based. I believe the way they shaped it was pure consciousness. They just thought that the crystal could change its shape into becoming a castle or a palace, and they could change it with their mind. But anyway, you if you're interested in Lemuria energy, you can look it up, read about it. There are several kinds of meditations on YouTube about Lemuria if you're interested in that. So, vulnerability. Something may seem like it could challenge your vulnerability here. Maybe this is a part of you that you don't want to admit that you have, right? As I said, with the success in the work life, but admitting to yourself that you are actually sucking at the emotional realm, or the more friend zone, or you could say the romantic part of your life, perhaps. Admitting this would be like facing that you do have a flaw, or you do have a failure part, right? Or a part of you that feels quite vulnerable, or maybe the vulnerability is actually the reason why it sucks, why it never works out, because you're not allowing yourself to open. You're not allowing yourself to become vulnerable. the next card here, I must say also when I look at this card that with this snake here, the snake, or whatever you want to call this, I see it like a mix of a snake or a dragon. That it's kind of doing something here, and somehow I feel like this could even talk about like a kundalini energy that is moving, like a kundalini energy that is moving. When we are not awake or woken up, the kundalini snake energy is said to be coiled down at the root chakra, so at the base of our spine. And when the kundalini starts to move, the energy is kind of unleashing, and the snake starts to move, you could say, upwards, up through all the chakras. So the spine, the kundalini energy is at the spine, the lowest root chakra, the red root chakra at the end of the spine, and it starts moving upwards towards the crown chakra at the top of your head. This looks a little bit like a moving kundalini energy for me, that something is on the move here, and that may feel like a vulnerability, that you are getting in tune with certain vulnerabilities in you that you may have in the more sleeping state of your life. You haven't addressed it. You haven't looked at it. You haven't even considered that part of yourself to be something you want. Maybe you literally like shoved it away. And part of that thing could be this, the star. So this is a dream come true. Believe in yourself. The end of a difficult situation. This is, the purple color is crown chakra. Archangel Jophiel is here. It seems like something could actually be come to an end. I just talked about the full moon in Libra, right? That something is ending for you. A dream come true. Believe in yourself, that maybe you could release yourself from this, as I said, this image with the prisoner, right? That with this big iron ball hanging around his foot, right? That you could eventually actually spread your wings here and just fly off. The star is associated with, you would say, the cosmic realm, Aquarius. It's something about an otherworldly or not earthy experience, maybe. Something about, I don't know, it could even be like more ethereal. It could be something like astral travel, right? That suddenly you can do that, or you have certain, as I said, certain skills, certain clairs that are awakening. Clairvoyant, claircognizant, clairaudient, clairsentient, something like that. A part of you is maybe awakening here. But as I said, maybe it feels not exactly, at least not at the moment. It may not feel like you like it very much. It's a change. and maybe a change within. And if that change comes, it can spark vulnerability, right? It can spark the fears or something in us, that something is happening out of our control. We don't know what this is. And maybe your reality is changing. As I said, maybe you're suddenly, you know stuff. You just know stuff, right? And you can't really explain it. And maybe it feels like something you just can't, you can't explain it, and maybe it feels a bit overwhelming also here. It could be something like if you actually literally are able to energetically, physically, emotionally, whatever, to cut that chain and release yourself from this iron ball, that it also comes with a sense of vulnerability. Because even though you didn't like the iron ball, whatever that is, it kept you on earth, right? It kept you in a space that even though you didn't like it, you somehow got acquainted to it. It sounds to me a little bit like a trauma bond. This, I have talked about this before on my channel. You can look it up if you want to know more about it. But the point is that leaving it's like leaving a prison but not knowing anything about the world, right? How am I, or let's say you have been that prisoner with this iron ball around your feet. You have been that all your life. You've never gotten out of the prison. You never got out of the box. You never got, you were never given that freedom. How do you navigate it now? It's again like you have been in a big, and when you look at the sweat lodge here, right? It may look a little bit like either someone is walking into the sweat lodge or someone is walking out of it. In your case, I feel like you could be walking out of it. But this is what you have known, right? This is what you, this is the, you could say, the iron ball. This is the iron ball you have been chained to. And the door has never opened, right? The door has never opened. And you may be standing right here at the edge, still having a foot in and looking out on this vastness, this big, like, extreme, it's almost like, you know, like the cosmic realm for someone who has been here all the time. It would be like looking into the cosmic realm for the first time, that it seems extremely big and you are very small. Right, that you are very small in something that is very big. It's almost like you're handed the gift of freedom, but the gift of freedom also comes with a sense of overwhelm, perhaps here. The next card out here is the third chakra, Archangel Samuel. It holds the yellow color. It is the solar plexus in the midst of our body, the stomach area. The third chakra is about confidence, willpower. Yellow is this color. Well, willpower, go-getter energy. It is the doer energy in you, taking action on what it is that you may feel guided to, maybe here with the star. The star again represents, you could say, Aquarius, the ungrounded, the things that happen in space, perhaps something that is vast and big. As I said, it's like being opened up to something that you haven't. It's a very expansive energy. It looks outside of the box or outside of the globe, maybe even. This can be anything, that you are suddenly opening your eyes up to a different existence. You have only lived an existence within this boundary here, perhaps. Now the door is opening. You get to see, or you get the opportunity to have a new experience, a totally different experience. Something that is not that dense and tough to get through. But standing there, again, as I said, maybe your mind is blown with this and thinks, wow, this is so exciting, I love this. But your body is maybe still kind of, yeah, but can we trust this? Is this something we can work with? This is an entirely new existence. We even have the bird here. Fly away, you get out of the cage, fly away, right? But the sweat lodge, to me, kind of indicates that there may be something that feels very difficult here to let go of. The get yourself through this door may feel like a burning sensation, right? That you have to give something up, perhaps. Maybe you have to give something up here in order for you to be able to walk through this portal. It looks a little bit like a portal to a new frequency or a different dimension, right? Again, if you open up psychic gifts, it's like you actually open up to like a different realm or a different way of existing, like a parallel universe. You're still living the same place, you're still walking down the same road, but suddenly it looks different. This could be the feeling of like a third eye opening. Third eye is placed between the eyebrows. A third eye opening. Suddenly it's like everything looks different. Colors are more vibrant. Smells are more. It's like your senses become more sensitive, and that in itself may feel like a sweat lodge. Like it's not that pleasant. Maybe it's kind of overwhelming. That suddenly you see the same world, but in a new, totally new way, Libra. That would make sense with the star here and crown chakra. That could be like an opening, like suddenly it's like you see and know and experience and sense something totally different, and it's influencing you, right? It feels like unpleasant for the body, right? Unpleasant for the body. Unpleasant for the brain, perhaps. Maybe you're very exhausted, very tired. Like walking through, opening this little door here. In maybe we could say your ego. Opening this slight little door may feel like an exhausting, like really walking through fire here, right? Like a bit like maybe like an experience of a perpetrary, right? That the escape that you are doing here as the prisoner, the escape you're planning or the escape you are experiencing is feeling really tumultuous here. And it takes a lot of courage, right? Stamina and willpower to sustain yourself through this fire here. It really takes trust and bravery to commit yourself to take this route, right? To let the Kundalini rise up, to let it rise, to not shove it down. That takes a trusting, maybe also, I want to say enough pain. If you feel like you have been going through pain, maybe the pain is actually a driver, meaning that if your life was peachy, right, you would never do this. You would never attempt to go on this journey. Why should you? If your life was peachy and beautiful and loving and caring and you had everything, this could be done out of pain and suffering and misery. That could be the incline, that the pain is the driver to take you towards something else. That the pain is what you could say gathers the willpower to go through hell here to be free. Otherwise you wouldn't do it. That's the human thing, that we are comfortable people, right? We don't want something uncomfortable unless it's worth it. Unless we believe that if I do this, it's going to take me somewhere else. And that would be worth it for me. Right? That's what I feel like. So did I show you all the others? I probably didn't. So this one is from this deck, the Archangel Power Tarot cards. And then I have this one. It is from the Mystical Shaman Oracle. And the last one here is the Energy Oracle cards. It's just if you are interested. These are the ones I'm using at the moment. Okay, so actually I feel like I have the story already. Like this is what's going on. Having this opening here feels like a perpetrary. And again, I feel like it ties all the way into the Leo reading. I call the Leo reading a nightmare. And I feel like it's because, and again, I'm not saying you're dealing with a Leo, but if you have Leo somewhere strong in your chart, Virgo was also present. In the Virgo reading, that was a bit similar, and I see it's still here. That to have this breakthrough here, it may feel like I have been joining a sweat lodge without knowing it, right? Without knowing it, I have been joining a sweat lodge. When this starts moving here, I find myself in the sweat lodge. And if you've never been in a sweat lodge, I can tell you it's extremely hot in there. It's supposed to be. It's the point is that it's because it is that hot. It's something that is supposed to make us sweat, right? We should sweat and get the stuff out of us that is really not helping us. That it should be released from the body. When you sit in a sweat lodge, there is a fire in the middle, but it's actually changed not to be a fire, but to be more steam. That it becomes steam. So it's a very sweat-like experience, hot, and the humidity is very dense and like uneasy to to breathe in there. When the fire becomes only steam like coals in there, there is not much light in there. And you can't really see much. You just sit in this dimmed light feeling and sweat. That's actually what you do. You can't move in there either. It's like you are, and these very hot coals in the middle, if you get too close to them, you're really burning. Like then it becomes very uncomfortable. You need to have something over you, like some set of clothes or something. You don't sit in here in shorts and a t-shirt, right? That's it's gonna burn you then. If you have tried this, it's really hot and the humidity is, and you sit close, like everyone in there, they sit very close next to each other. Well, I guess you could sit there alone, but normally these seances, shamanic seances, are for a group of people, right? Maybe you sit 20 people in there, 30, depends on the size of this, right? And maybe, again, as I said, maybe you have been in a sweat lodge with certain people here, going through something. And now you are either entering it or you are walking out of it. I believe you're walking out of it. Again, with this card here that says, or at least I want to say the opportunity is here. If you work with the full moon energy, I want to say the end of a difficult situation is definitely here, but it probably has something to do with you, like the way you see the situation, the way you act in the situation, the way you engage or disengage from a situation is entirely up to you. But somehow I get the feeling that whatever this, the change of this, it's powered by something. Can I have the underlying energy here? I look at the bottom of the deck. Full spectrum. Interesting. Full spectrum. Wow. Full spectrum. So when we look at it, what is this? And underneath it, I actually have third eye chakra here. So I mentioned the third eye chakra already. We have the triangle here as a sacred symbol. Pineal gland opening. And again, it is between the eyebrows, so maybe that's what you're feeling, or something like that could be coming, or you have experienced it. Full spectrum. And again, you see, if you see it, this person, all the chakras are shown here, from the root chakra, sacral chakra, solar plexus, heart chakra, throat chakra, pineal gland, third eye chakra, and crown chakra. They are all here. What I feel like here, we even have the earth star chakra here as well. And the star we have here also. To me, it talks a little bit about like a full awakening, like all chakras are open. Like whatever is driving this is a soul that is trying to open all chakras. That is probably the ambition. The ambition, right? Underneath it all, and again, you could be quite unaware about your soul and what it wants. At least I was. I had no idea. I was totally absorbed in my own ego. So when my awakening started, I had no idea. But this, I still don't know exactly. But I just follow along when this is healing, right? But this full spectrum here talks about like an ambition of wanting to have all open here. But if that is the fact, I want to say it's requiring a certain frequency, to align with a certain frequency. And to do that in a dense world like Earth plane is difficult. You will feel like your body going through changes. When it shifts vibration, it may feel like you become more heavy, like the body is heavy. It's because it hasn't attuned yet to the new frequency. Okay, so, and the vulnerability here is part of that awakening. Let's have a look what else we can get from the books here. It says, real strength, holding space, healing past wounds, accepting yourself as you are, sharing from the depth of your heart, raw truths, compassion for others, and removing your armor. Yeah, I guess all of these would suggest a vulnerability. And, well, I don't think many people like this about themselves, that they are vulnerable, that some part of them is vulnerable, and even sharing about it. Our vulnerabilities can be one of the greatest gifts we can share. It can also be the hardest. In our society, we are conditioned to put on a facade, to be strong, even in times of difficulty. Paradoxically, being vulnerable is one of the strongest things we can be. It is easy to armor ourselves from the harsh truth that may be too painful to bring to the light of day. However, this causes great suffering, as buried pain becomes shadows. Unprocessed negative experiences can incarnate as much more troublesome traits or insecurities than their origin. When we are truly honest with ourselves in all our facets, we are vulnerable. The honesty is an important step in discovering our shadows and bringing them into the light for healing. Furthermore, when we share our vulnerabilities with others, we allow them to glimpse a deeper part of ourselves. This is fertile soil for trust. It plants the seeds for others to share the places that are most raw or tender for them. Our closest friendships can be formed in this space. The times when we feel too uncomfortable to reach out to others can be the very times we need the most. Having compassion and awareness of the struggle and disorientation others may go through is a vulnerable contribution to the world. Holding space where others can be vulnerable is a key element of healing work. Self-love is also connected to our ability to be vulnerable, as it allows us to be true to ourselves, exactly as we are, without judgment. So be vulnerable with yourself or others. It may also be time to step into the role of healer and hold space for others. Holding space means being fully present, without judgment, in a way that provides a safe and nurturing environment for others, right? In this place, guards can be dropped, and a deeper level of awareness and relating can unfold. Enabling unconditional love and acceptance allows for vulnerabilities to be expressed, for the core of dis-ease to be discovered and for profound healing to take place. Yeah, but as I said, there is absolutely great healing opportunities with being vulnerable or honest with someone. And if they are able to hold that space for you, or the other way around, that you can hold it for them. However, it also takes courage to go out and speak about it. It takes courage to show that part of yourself. And to speak authentically from the best of your ability, from your heart, but also, you could say, the honesty when something is maybe difficult to say, but it needs to be said. A truth, perhaps, here with the star. That would make sense with the full spectrum, that we are concerned about the full person becoming that full version of ourselves, and hold that space for someone else, like being able to be that person, but also hold the space for others who tries to become that, right? Who tries to heal. The sweat lodge here, I am curious about that one also here, to see what else we can get from it. The mystical shaman oracle here talks in symbols, so I have to go with what I also feel and get here. The sweat lodge represents the womb of Mother Earth. Okay, that's even more interesting, right? Volcanic stones are heated in a fire outside, then brought into the lodge and placed in a shallow hole in the center. Participants sit in complete darkness around the red-hot stones to sweat away old habits and beliefs and heal disease. When you return humbly to the womb of the mother, you are offered second chances. The invitation: this is a time to journey inward into the dark and hidden places of your soul to reconnect with the ancient earth wisdom. You can also create a sacred and intimate space in the dark by lighting a candle. Observe what emerges and, without judging it, invite it to bring you its gifts. You are being offered an opportunity to shed and heal from the aspects of your life you have outgrown. Do not worry that you will be consumed by the process. Life is offering you a second chance. Take it, since this chance may not come your way again for a while. Mother Earth is calling you into her womb and inviting you to incubate as long as needed for a spiritual rebirth. Gift yourself time to be with your darkness, your fears, your pain, and your seeds of beautiful potential until you come out the other side free, wise, and full of creativity. So this is interesting because it talks very much about going in there into the womb and rebirth yourself. That takes courage, yes. It takes a conviction also that you trust in the process to do that. I felt, though, that it feels a little bit like maybe you are coming out of it. And again, the end of a difficult situation. I get more the feeling of someone could be coming out of it. enlightened, knowing so much more about yourself here. Of course, I can't, when I read it from the book, I must say it could be also that you are entering this. And the reason for entering it in the first place is something that happens here. That you get acquainted with something here. That is the whole reason why you even do this in the first place. Why you go in there, why you sit there. And in here, when something becomes unbearable, you may really actually be asking for help. I know I did. Again, the scapegoats, I believe that if you have grown up and you relate to that term, we learn to take care of ourselves. We learn to not to ask for help because a scapegoat doesn't trust in a helping hand. So we learn to not engage little with others because we don't trust that they actually want to help us, meaning that you have to become very reliant on taking care of yourself. Everything you need, you figure out how to do it yourself. But it doesn't mean that you are very good at receiving. It doesn't mean that you're very good at opening yourself up. And again, be vulnerable and actually say there are things you can't do. There are things that can be difficult. There are things where you don't have the answers or where you fear something, right? Or you would like the protection of someone, from someone, or help from others. And asking for that help is not necessarily something that a scapegoat is safe with, that feeling. But the point is, I feel like it's because you're supposed to become that as well. You're supposed to become someone who can ask. Or even with all opened here, you know that you are helped. You know that you are safe. You know that there's something here that is guiding you, helping you, protecting you. That's the point. That's the driver of it. That actually you want to have that balance, right? You want to be able to receive. You want to be able to just flow safely without any kind of fears. Creating heaven on earth by honoring the perfection of nature's cycles, going beyond the judgment of good and bad, the merging of duality, raw nature, earth wisdom, connecting to ancestors, shadows as the fertile soil for exponential growth. The way forward is in the whispering of the land, honoring the full spectrum of life. What does heaven on earth look like for you? Do you imagine lush green nature, ancient forests, pristine beaches, crystalline water systems, and all the planet's residents in full health, living in harmony with each other? And yet nature, in its purest, rawest form, is a balance of life and death, growth and decomposition. The eaters and the eaten. In one way or another, this is the natural flux of life. We already live in Eden, but our efforts to own and segregate bring us further away from this paradigm. Power trips, the need for imagined security, fear or avoidance of the shadow, keep us out of our freedom. The need to preserve and hold on tightly only stunts our growth and leaves us drowning in the sea of plastic. The real disease on earth, the barrier to Eden, is in our minds. Life happens, but it is our perception of good and bad and our black and white judgment that prevents us from seeing the grander truth. When duality becomes one, we will find Shambhala before us. Perhaps we can find inspiration from nature and the animal kingdom. So there's definitely someone here, I think, like on a spiritual path, really wanting something to be aligned, harmonized, or being one, from the separation being one. Whether you are aware of this or not, whether this is your soul operating and you don't know it, this is what's on the table here. This is the driver for the star. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the star. Justice. Well, this is your card, isn't it? Justice again. Purple color here. Archangel Raguel. Fight for justice and equality. Rulings made in your favor. Don't give up. There's definitely the justice here is about balance and harmony. This card the same. Here, this the same, right? They look different, but it's the same thing. They want the balance of the scales here. Again, look at how the scales are shown in the picture here. He's supposed to balance them, right? Fighting for that kind of justice. Again, fighting is a word of, we don't fight for something unless it's really important, unless we really want it, unless it's freeing us somehow or freeing someone else that we care about. Fighting, it means that there's a struggle, that there is opposition, something we need to, you could say, something we need to voice ourselves, perhaps. Maybe that's why we need to cultivate some bravery here, some willpower, some confidence, and the ability to stand alone and go against the stream, perhaps, or something like that. Speaking up about certain vulnerabilities may have been something that really demanded a sense of bravery, especially if you come from a place where you never felt that if you talked about it, it would just have been used against you, right? It would be something that people would just use as a weapon against you. And they may have threat upon it again and again and made you feel horrible, right? So the cultivation of this may have been in the sweat lodge, right? Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck here. Indecision. This came out in the Virgo reading also here. Indecision as a driver. Underlying energy. Yeah. I get the feeling with this as how to cultivate this. How to get this stronger. Activate this in yourself may have been with the feeling of, I don't know how to do this. And is it the right way to go? What if this is dangerous? So let's say you have spiritual gifts that are opening here. The indecision can definitely be linked to the fact that it will take all of my willpower. I have to gather all of my willpower to make this, to do this, to go through this journey. And maybe you haven't been quite sure whether you had that strength, whether you would, whether you had that strength, whether you could activate it, and whether it would be the right thing to do, to enter the sweat lodge, but also to get out of it again. I want to say, after you've been in here, how long are you supposed to be in there, right? As long, until he is strong enough here to maybe speak about something, or at least it should be so. I want to say that you could speak about this, and to people, of course, where you hope and you have decided or discerned that they will actually be able to understand me. I wouldn't suggest you should say this to people that have never been there emotionally for you. I don't see any point in that. The next card out underneath the indecision here is walking away. So again, an indecision whether you should embrace this and build yourself up, or whether you should escape a situation and just walk away from something here. That is up to you, of course. Is it what I want to do? Can I do this? Especially, she's standing in red here, right? Root chakra. Especially if she really feels traumatized, or feels that she can't have, or he can't have that courage to go through this journey here. But somehow I also feel that the pain, again, the pain or some kind of suffering was a driver. Like, this cannot continue. I can't stay here. Right? And that could be your soul working, right? The Kundalini relating to the soul starting to emerge behind the ego, right? So this can be the feeling of like breaking through that ego. It can be the feeling that you walk into the room to be cleansed and purified, and you choose your own company also here, because you have to get to know who you actually are. It's a big process, this one. Let's have a look at the sweat lodge and underline the stuff. Interesting. Okay, so it came out reversed like that. I don't read reversals for these new decks here, not yet. So it's like this, the stuff. And there is something about well, the staff for me looks a little bit like a wand, some kind of instrument here. And then there's put this cranium on the top of it. And the immediate thing that comes to mind also when this is reversed like this, it's like, I believe, isn't it in that prayer, the Lord is my shepherd. There's something about his staff and his wand protects me or helps me or something like that. I can't recall it, but please look it up. But there's something about that. And when this came out reversed like that, it feels a little bit like you don't have that feeling. Like maybe you don't have the feeling of God, a God presence, a light presence. That there is nobody that actually cares or is there. Let's have a look at this. Of course, it could be seen as a weapon, right? That you don't have the weapons to fight off any kind of enemy. It could be something like maybe you don't want to fight, right? Again, the walking away card was just underneath the indecision. Maybe you don't want to fight, right? Maybe you would just like to be left alone. Maybe you, but again, if you're left alone, you're not opening yourself up, perhaps, right? You're not showing the vulnerability. So to walk into the sweat lodge is to figure out something about this staff, I want to say. Why it may feel like it's missing, or why it may feel like no support, perhaps, or no godly support. The star suggests a connection with the universe, but maybe you feel like you're opening up to it for the first time and it has never been in your life, right? It has never been there. So this is new. This new idea that there's something more. It has, like you're the novice, you don't know how to connect or talk to it or feel it or connect with it somehow. It's you know there's something there, but you don't know how to do it. Maybe you don't feel safe in it. Right, so creating a bravery here, an indecision whether you can do that or not, or whether you want it or not. I just feel like with the full spectrum card here, I don't think you have a choice. I think you will be led into this sweat lodge no matter what, or you're coming out of it, right? Depending on your journey, where you are and everything. But it seems like that there's definitely a process towards a harmony, a deeper sense of harmony. Eden on earth, a heaven on earth feeling that you're connected with everything. The staff. Let's have a look at this card here. I don't know, I can't seem to let go of this idea of the prayer. And that is from a prayer to God. The Lord is my shepherd. He shows me the green valleys, right? And even if I go in a valley of the shadow, He is with me and He guides me, and it's something like that. You probably know it better than me. Again, I grew up without any religious ties. I was baptized, but that's probably it. So I never really prayed much, but this comes across a little bit like, this that you're praying for something. Maybe you're praying for help, and that is not typical for you, I think. With these cards, I don't think so. It's not typical. But the sweat lodge can make us do strange things, different things, because it's very intense, very intense. Okay, let's have a look at this card here. Just turning it around now so you can have a look at it. It is a shamanic tool, you could say. So, the staff is a symbol of authority. Okay. It holds the power to temper extremes. The staff helps you find the right course of action, the way of the middle, and aids you to maintain your balance after you begin walking in that direction. Moses carried a serpent staff through the desert, and with it he could summon the power of nature to heal or call plagues. The staff reminds you of the impermanence of all things, and that your authority must come from your deep longing to serve. Okay, this is interesting. So there's something about power, authority, control maybe here that is needing a review. What are you using your power or authority on? Is it to gain money or whatever? Maybe, and the deep longing to serve, it says here, come from your deep longing to serve. So if you want to serve, how is it that you can use your power or control or and this could be the feeling that you are not in control, that you don't have any power, that you don't know how to temper extremes, you don't know how to find the middle way, right? Maybe you feel that you are not balancing. Like when you walk in the direction here, when you walk in the direction that your soul may want you to go, and you sit in the sweat lodge, in here you may feel like you have no authority over your body perhaps, or what is going on here. That the sensitivities you may feel, that you have no control over that. And even if you try to go in that direction, let's say you choose to become a healer, you may feel like you still don't have that power. The invitation talks about you know how to flow easily between polarities, how to weigh all possibilities and instinctively select the right path. Trust your inner vision and take the first step on the journey that your heart has already embarked on. Use the power of the staff to unite what appears to be divided, to find the delicate balance between will and surrender. That is probably important, your personal egoic will and the surrendering part. Again, the yin and the yang aspect of our life. That if you can surrender and trust, your authority is worth nothing. Then your authority probably links to your egoic will, and not necessarily your soul, authentic soul self. So there is maybe something about surrendering here. Surrendering your control of life, because you're not in control of life at all. And if you're going through something here that may actually affect your body, I want to say here, especially here, you will actually realize that you are not in control at all. You can think whatever you want, your body does something else. That's just, so you can't seem to, you can choose to fight it, or you can choose to try to follow it and examine and study what is this? Where am I supposed to be taken here, right? And the sweat lodge is that rebirth state. But you can't have control there. You can't, you have to actually surrender that kind of control. Again, I get the feeling of maybe you should, if you are into prayers, maybe look that up. It's famous, right? It's the, my Lord is The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not. I can't remember it in English, but you know that there's a line, and also something about a wand and a staff, I think, and it guides me the right path, something like that. Yeah, you know what I mean. I think that, and you can just look it up. In whatever language is right for you, right? You are caught in the delicate balance between opposing forces, between masculine and feminine, between action and non-action. Use this to your advantage, and there can be no day without night, no low without high, no wrong without right. This is the time to take corrective action, beginning with your beliefs about what needs to be fixed or repaired. Let destiny take its course, nudging it slightly along. So authority can be ego authority, or it could be authentic authority. And also, well, you can try to fix or repair yourself or repair stuff around you in your life, but you can also maybe accept that sometimes a healing takes longer, perhaps. Maybe a healing takes longer. Using like an ego will to, if your body is preparing for this, you are not in control. Like your ego will is not in control. You can't control this. And therefore, it is just an illusion to believe that you have control over anything here. Your body is going through some kind of transformation, or it has initiated something here. And when it does that, you are no longer in that control. You can work with it, or you can work against it. As I said, maybe it's like your mind has finally realized something. You feel so relieved or so happy about something, but your body is not quite there yet. You just have to be patient with it. Not forcing it, it's not really, it's going through its own process and releasing something in the process, right? Somehow I get the feeling, at least some of you, I think, could be on the edge of coming out of the sweat lodge. And when you come out of the sweat lodge, you have realized this. You have realized that you can't use like an egoic dominance or control over your life. It's not going to change anything. This has been really difficult for me to release that myself. I'm still not there. But I'm getting closer to a more surrendering part. I find myself having those moments during the day where I actually do let the tension go, and where I trust more. And then there are other times where I kind of pin up again, and the tension is there again, right? But I'm learning how to not do that all the time. So I'm kind of in between, you could say. I don't think it's easy if you all your life have been more pinned up and by anxiety and fears, to learn how to flow and just relax and trust is a thing, right? This trusting thing is difficult if you never really felt that you had it with anyone, really. but that's what I feel like. So take it how it resonates. It's something about how to yield to this authority of yours. Because you do have, to a certain sense, you do have free will. You can stay in the tension, of course. As I said, you can walk away and escape something. You can also walk away from the tension, something that gives you tension, right? You can walk away from that and choose something else. But again, indecision here for me really suggests that you may not know what is the right way to go with this. You may not know an answer to some kind of riddle. Let's say you have some health problems here, that your body is suddenly doing stuff and you have no control over it. You don't know. And maybe you go to the doctor and they don't know, right? They give you some pills and they ask you to relax, or you're stressed or something, but actually you don't feel like it's getting you anywhere. The indecision here can also come from the fact that we are listening to others instead of listening within. So we are listening for others to give us the answer to how to get better, perhaps. But the answer doesn't come from others necessarily. It probably comes from within yourself. You have to trust that. Learning to trust yourself also here in that process. Can I get a little bit about a little more about the staff, please? The staff. What is the staff about? Happy family. Okay. There is something about happy family here. How do I get a happy family? A happy family life. Maybe you could say a freer, more a happy family. Well, it can be a lot of things, but it could be something about, and that could also talk about the sweat lodge here, that the sweat lodge suggesting the womb, that the womb you were created in, or the family you grew up in, maybe it was not a happy family. Maybe you're trying to figure out that in the womb here. How is it? Or that authority has been really badly yielded within the family, right? Meaning that some had power and some probably didn't. And what does a happy family look like? A family like this, what does it look like? Is it because all are respected? All exist? All do have space? All are nurtured and cared for? All are seemingly happy and free and playful? What suggests a happy family, right? Maybe authority in your family has not been used like that. Maybe there has been a more controlling or domineering tendency, and you are trying to release yourself from that. One more on the staff, please. Transformation. Okay, yeah, going through a transformation, wanting to transform something about this. Change it or cut the change, as I said. Again, wanting out of some kind of stuckness, I feel like. One more, please, on the staff. Epiphany. Joy through spiritual growth, be a light to others, answer the come through meditation. In the sweat lodge, you probably, if you meditate here, will have epiphanies about authority, or power, you could say, how power is yielded or has been yielded, how you have been using yours, how others have been using theirs, and whether it has been for the greater good, or it has been for money, or it has been for status, or, something like that. I said in the beginning something about you could have been quite successful in the business life, right? But in the emotional realm or the romantic realm, it really sucks. Because the balance is not there. The respect for the emotional realm is not there. Right? If you would put attention on this and figure out why you feel miserable, or why it doesn't work out, or why they leave you, or why whatever, you need to get in tune with your vulnerability to do that. And maybe you never wanted to do that. It was easier to stay over here, right? But it's a superficial gain, you could say. It's a superficial gain to serve yourself more than others, get more and more money. But actually, what to do about that money, right? What to do about that money. One more on the stuff. Pachamama. Pachamama, she looks like this. Pachamama is the earth, or the woman, the feminine, reversed here. Yeah, it again, it tells me something about that the feminine has been under pressure. The vulnerability in us, the softness in us, our feelings and emotions has been repressed here. And I still get the feeling that it feels like, as I said, the very first image to my mind when I sat down to do this prisoner, that the big iron ball that was chained to your feet, that's the Pachamama, that's the mother, or the feminine part of you that you have been dragging around with you, right? When you were so successful in your business life, you have been dragging it around, but it felt like a nuisance, right? Because in there, in that ball, iron ball, you had your emotions, your feelings, your sorrows or your pain, put in this iron ball, like trapped there forever, never to be concealed or never to be opened. Like the feeling of, if I open this, it's like a Pandora's box. I rather drag it around me. Even though it makes me heavy and exhausted, I drag it around me so that that people won't see it, right? A trauma, a wound, an unhealed, unprocessed thing. So I drag it around with me, but I can't seem to get rid of it. Okay. Can we have an advice, please? An advice, because it seems like the sweat lodge, that you could be in that sweat lodge. Again, the sweat lodge here could signify the ball, right? That you are entering it to figure out what is this. It could even signify an iron tight, unflexible iron womb, right? A sacral chakra that is very cramped up, and doesn't trust. And the sacral chakra is our creativity, life force energy. It is where life is created, nurtured, protected. So you see, entering this comes maybe with a sense of, okay, I don't know if I want to do this, right? Because I'm kind of confronting something that I know is probably not very fun. Maybe I would rather walk away from it. That's probably what you have done. But in this case, it's like you have no authority over this. You have no power. When you walk in there, you will be confronted with your fears, everything that could potentially come up, all shadows, everything that is. And again, I still feel like this feeling of not having authority over this, not having power. Like I'm in this roller coaster and I have no control over it. I don't know where it's taking me. I just feel like I have to go along for the ride. I have to surrender here. I have to surrender because I can't seem to steer anything. Like I can't seem to have control over anything. Okay, an advice, please. Ace of Raphael. So here we have the green color here. That would be Ace of Cups. A positive new emotional experience, fulfilling romantic relationships, deep and lasting spiritual insights. Yeah, it seems like it's time to have a new beginning. I feel like that's also what you're working towards, or your soul is. It wants a new beginning. Something that is actually deeply fulfilling, lasting, deep, lasting spiritual insights, fulfilling romantic relationships, positive new emotional experience, a connectedness that you may have not have felt ever, perhaps. This is what is the advice, right? That you open yourself up to experience this. And this takes trust, right? And therefore trust is the thing. And that's why you can't, the authority you need to have in your life must come from the right place. Otherwise, you will not be able to open up. You will not be able to trust enough, trust someone or something. I'm not saying you throw yourself into a new romantic relationship. You can start with something that feels opening to you. Let's say you enjoy the beach, and you find that if you lay there and you just look over the water, it kind of opens you. Or let's say you like other kinds of nature or animals, that every time you connect with an animal, it's like they see you and you can open to them, right? It's easier to open to them because they see you in a different way. That is a way of opening yourself up, because you can have a more relaxed encounter or connection with them. There's not this tension or whatever. And then eventually you can maybe upgrade, or you can have a personal relationship, but you have to train yourself. Like experience some of this and open. Like open your heart, like open your heart and trust in the connection. Yeah, that's what I feel like. It's Should I take this one, the third chakra, Archangel Samuel? Um, yeah, third chakras, Archangel Samuel, emotions of desire and life force energy. The powerful Archangel Samuel is holding a beautiful sphere of golden light at the solar plexus, which is the location of your third chakra and the center of your life force energy. The issues here revolve around emotions of desire and your personal energy. When the card appears upright, it indicates that an increased enthusiasm is present or soon to be on its way. That is a great time to move towards the completion of your desires. Your life force is vibrating with power and resonance, and your soul is calling you to direct your energy in a focused, purposeful manner. This angel of power is with you now, so go for it. And it's interesting that we have this here, and then we have indecision as a driver. This tells me that it seems like the wind is blowing in your way. Like the wind is blowing in the right direction, but it seems like you don't know how to capture it, perhaps, or to see it clearly. Or whether it's actually the right thing to take that action, right? You're still maybe considering to walk away from it. My third chakra is open to its perfect healthy state. I radiate a bright and vibrant life force energy. I feel excitement for all that I do. But somehow I get the feeling you're not quite there. You're not quite there. Whether you can trust this, I think. Again, there's this trusting element. Whether you can trust this. Again, I get the feeling that whom I'm talking to is about to come out of the sweat lodge. They have been in there. They've learned a lot about authority. They have built something. Maybe not, still not quite knowing what to do with it. They know it's about balance in their life. They may have opened up some psychic gifts. Kundalini is definitely moving. You want to find out how to create a really good, perfect life for yourself. Heaven on earth. Maybe not just for yourself, but for your for your family, for your children, for everyone on earth. But maybe you haven't still not figured out how to do it, right? Or what to say. It came out upright here. But somehow I wanna read the reversed version also, because the indecision card is here. When the card is reversed, it indicates a low ebb in your energy and possibly a lack of purpose. You may have been feeling very fragmented lately, unable to rein in your scattered focus. If this is the case, it's time to become more centered and single-minded. You can choose to bring a greater sense of enthusiasm to your everyday life. Call for the assistance of Samuel to help you harness your power and spin this dynamic center of life force expression. Gather up and direct your life force energy and bring an attitude of enthusiasm to both your goal and your daily life. Somehow I get the feeling this could be for some of you who are still wondering how am I supposed to gather this greatness, right? This steadfast, strong confidence and go-getter energy here. Maybe you need to gather it, right? And maybe you're doing it in the sweat lodge period of time that you are in, or about to enter, or about to exit. Again, if you feel like you never had authority in your life, the indecision goes with that card. How to build this confidence, how to become this person, right? That's why the Kundalini is stirring here. It wants to help you here. But maybe you didn't know, right? You didn't know what to trust, whom to trust yourself, trust anyone. So it's a building, and it connects with the sweat lodge. These two may also go together, right? Fiery, hot hotness here, that maybe you have like stirring energies up and down your spine, like a feeling of like a burning sensation, things like that, burning spots over your body, something like that. Of course, seek out the doctor, but again, maybe they don't know what this is, maybe they can't tell you. Okay. But definitely ask Samuel to come in to your life. Ask him for help here. To help forth this righteousness in you, this strong power in you that could direct you in whatever sense, because it seems like the wind is here. It's really here to kind of just take you there somehow. Again, I have this feeling that your head knows this. Like your head may know it, but your body, it's kind of not there yet. It again, it could even be, if when I look at this, it could be that you are walking here now as a fully new person, and she's walking towards us, right? She's walking towards us here. But then along with her is this iron ball of something here. That you're walking here, and then this is still linked to your feet. I hope not. But do you get my point? Or this may maybe this is what it has been. Like maybe this is what it has been, right? That you walked like this, but this was dragged along with you. So a big pile of something. But then have a look at this. What if this was gone? What if it was not here anymore to weigh you down? How big could you be then? Here it seems like maybe you've been carrying so much that you were so little. But what if this is gone? How big could you become then? How big are you then now? You see? Yeah. That's what I feel like. I get the feeling of like from being petite to becoming very big. I don't know in what sense your voice, your impact, your aura, your way of achieving things, your divine authority, your sense of how to serve, maybe your purpose. I don't know, from having very little knowledge about yourself, maybe very little purpose, to now knowing exactly what you want, right? That's also a thing, like from being like something was a tiny seed to becoming like, but there could have been a time of gathering momentum or something in the sweat lodge, with the sweat lodge in it, around it, on it, I don't know, but Yeah, that's what I feel like. I hope this helped somehow, Libra. Hmm, again, look up the prayer if you are interested in that. Work with Samuel here. Accept the fact that maybe your body is changing or going through something. Um, your mind is changing. Um, you have insights. It's all here because you're supposed to rectify something or harmonize something, even though you don't know exactly where you're going. Again, it's about your own power, your own sense of power, but also how others are yielding their power and for what result. Let's say you have been a high striving, very result oriented, masculine work person, and you have the right education, the right job. You have advanced, like advancing levels in the law firm or whatever. You have reached a certain position in life where you earn a lot of money, maybe. You have a lot of responsibility, you earn a lot of money. Um, but as I said, at the same time, you may have sacrificed something on this other side of you. And if you have been this high achiever, it could be that during this process here and the sweat lodge, you're realizing that all this effort you put into something, you got the status, you got the house, the beach house, right? You got the right address now. You live the right place. You have the status. You look great. You may have had very famous model girlfriends or boyfriends, right? But it never really felt that deep to you, right? Or it never really lasted. So you focused on the money, right? But now it may seem like it's not enough, or it's something is missing. And when you go through a process like this, you may actually realize that all the effort you put into something was just to earn or achieve an ego goal of becoming maybe famous, having a lot of status, money, you know, owning expensive stuff, expensive cars, whatever. And of course, that is probably satisfying to a certain extent. But in all this success, something was missing, right? That could be what you are realizing here and here. That I have used so much of my time on something that is only half fulfilling, or not even half. The further you get yourself stuck in it, the further away you get from your heart, you could say. Something that is actually deeply heartfelt, something that doesn't serve your own little ego, but actually serves more. We had the happy family card come out. That's something that say you have been a hardworking family man, but you are primarily at work. You haven't really attended much to your children when they were growing up, and now you see the result of a distant relationship with them. You don't have a strong relationship with them. You don't see them very often. They don't come around. They are not visiting. And you actually also don't know anything about them. You don't know their hobbies. You don't know their quirks. You don't know all the small stuff. all the tiny little things they had to go through during growing up. You were at the office, right? And you had lots to do there, right? But it meant that you also you couldn't participate both places, right? Maybe that's also what you're realizing here, that something that you worked very hard for the family to be happy, right? To have things, that you had the means to do stuff, go traveling and have holidays and get a new this or that, have the right clothes or status, whatever. But there was not really much heart in it, right? It was fixed. It was like a constant investment in the work load, so that you could get the money and have that status at home, but you were not really there, perhaps, right? You were always invested in something else that became your entire life, and now it may feel like you are alone, or you thought that the happy family you were working for is actually not that happy because they miss you, right? Maybe it's dissolved entirely because of that, because they were missing you there. And they could have lived with less money. They could have been more happy with less money and less stuff if you were more interacting with them. It's something like that. This could even suggest that, let's say, for a long, long time, you were, as I said, very invested in your personal power, status, this job identity, something like that. And the family thing may have felt like the iron ball you were dragging along with you, right? It had to be there somehow, but you were actually not very invested in it. And now it's like you can't seem not to see it. Let's say the family thing becomes very big here. Let's say you I don't know. It's just an example, but let's say that your children have now become adults, and they are suddenly involved in criminal affairs. They are suddenly doing something out of order, or they are doing something you didn't expect them to do. They are maybe they are involved in a car crash. So now something that just felt like you had to work and work and work and work to feed it somehow, to make it exist. Now it has a totally different vibe to it. Now you could lose it, or it is in trouble, right? So now something may have been like something seems like it's growing over your head here, right? It has become very big, and you can't avoid it anymore. It could be that we even see this as, let's say, a building conflict, right? That you can hear it every time you talk to them, and when you call them, you can hear it, that they are avoiding something, or they are becoming more and more reliant, or more and more ghosty. They don't want to talk to you, or they ignore you, or they don't listen to your advices, or whatever. It's like this, like a growing tension of something here, that eventually it's like you can't seem not to go in there and have that discussion, or this could be like a building conflict, right? That it's growing and growing and growing, and maybe you have kind of dragged it along for a while where you haven't confronted it, and this could be where you are facing some kind of consequence. Yeah, you have to go in there. And yeah, facing some kind of consequences. And it's probably not necessarily a win-win situation. No matter how skilled you are, or no matter how much balance you want, or you want like the happy family can be, of course, just this happy glittery poster, right? But underneath the family life, there's much more to it. To have a real happy family, it probably depends on the people in that family. But I guess that all people like to be part of someone else's life, and they also want to be acknowledged, seen, valued, prioritized. They don't want to be put aside, to the side, ignored, or everyone seeks a certain amount of contact or connection. Being left on the sideline is never a winning situation. Of course, maybe we can't be present in each other's life all the time, but it's important that the family must not doubt. The people around you must never doubt that your priorities are with them first. This is so easier said than done. I know that. But it's a human thing that we don't want to be put aside. Maybe for a period of time, but then you have to come back, right? This thing about being put on the sideline for 20 years, that is not going to build the right connection within a family dynamic. Coming back after 30 years where you have been totally absorbed in your own work life and expect the family to stand there with open arms, I don't think so. It's too much of an absence, and the children learn how to do without. They learn how to do without, or the spouse, the partner, learns how to do without, or chooses someone else who prioritizes them more. That's just how it is. It's just how it is. So whatever obligations you may have felt, this can be, again, the iron thing here, or the iron ball that you have been dragging with you. Could be some kind of expectations that you thought you should honor, but you never discussed it with the other people, perhaps. You never cleared it with them. So you may have been working and doing a lot of stuff and cleaning and whatever and selling and doing this and that because you had something inside you thought you had to live up to. But maybe you should clear it with the people that are actually there for you, because maybe they do want to commit to you, maybe they do want to be devoted, maybe they do want to love you, but when you are always gone, they can't. It becomes too painful for them. So eventually they probably don't. They probably walk away, or they have to close down their expectations, their heart, and because it becomes too painful. maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you're realizing something like this in your life, that someone didn't prioritize you. And now you find yourself that you had to close yourself down. And that is what you're trying to open again here. Yeah, this is what I have. I hope this helped somehow. I know it's not maybe easy to hear it, but the spiritual awakening journey is taking you through something. And it's you're not in control about it. The sooner you surrender to it and accept that, the better it is. I believe I have fought against it. I think I've done that for quite a while, without even knowing I was doing it. It was just a default setting in me, kind of that was activated. But eventually, I see more and more that I'm not in control about this. It takes me somewhere. I'm supposed to see another side of me or experience something new, a new way of life, a new way of living, a different reality in the current reality, right? Higher frequency in the current reality that I haven't experienced before. And that's what I feel like. It's about the trust. It's about the surrender. I'm not saying it's easy, but I see something like this going on here. I hope this helped somehow. Please take very good care of yourself, everyone out there. I send you my very best. Love and light to you all. Bye-bye.